This new Kirblog is just as you would think. What I thought of E3 2018. All right, as expected, as promised. This is I'm recording this literally the day that this is coming out. I'll be putting this up in probably only a few minutes after I finish recording it. As promised, my thoughts on all of the E3 2018 press conferences from all the major companies. As was often the case the last few years, I'm only going to have so much to say, that I can actually just fit it within a single little less than 20-minute video or so, because most of them I don't have too much to say, because a lot of these companies and game series I don't necessarily follow all that much, but, as promised, I'll start off in basically chronological order. EA, I'm sure I've said this in the past, 4 years I've been doing these. Don't care much about the stuff that they do. I'm not into sports games. Their conference was mostly kind of putting me to sleep. It wasn't, it was pretty underwhelming, I think, compared to a lot of the other ones, even compared to the ones that were literally just a bunch of videos in a row. The one thing I will give some credit to is the Sea of Solitude game looked really cool, and I felt really good for the woman who created it that was sharing her vision and speaking very passionately about that project and stuff. That was very cool. I can definitely give some appreciation towards that, but that was about all I have to say for that. Xbox, very, very, very good conference. In fact, actually, as someone who doesn't own an Xbox and probably has no intention of ever getting one, I got to say that I think that actually between the big three of Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo, I think actually that Xbox, purely in terms of the conference and presentation, I think that they were actually the best of those big three. A really impressive showcase of over 50 games. And again, same kind of thing where I'm not into most of these series, but very happy for the fans of stuff like Halo and Fallout, Gears of War, all that stuff. The trailers looked amazing. Just lots of props for just showing that much content. I did, regardless of my opinions of the system or whatever, that is very admirable. I give them a lot of credit for that. Jump Force looks fantastic. That was those of you following me on Twitter. That was probably one heavily retweeted, mildly not safe for work, picture I took of that one. I know it's when really getting it down to it, it's kind of just really a sequel to Jump Victory Stars versus or whatever it was called. 3v3 kind of thing, with a new updated graphics system. I am interested, though, in if they are going to be doing a little bit more of perhaps a robust story mode to this one. I would be interested in that. I've enjoyed the other Jump crossover games, the little bits that I've played of some of them before, but that is definitely one thing that I think is what would make me want to maybe buy the game, is if that's the case. But we'll see more details as stuff comes out with that. Kingdom Hearts 3, of course, they had, so technically the first new trailer they premiered was the one at the Orchestra event that was the night before, which I guess was sort of a combination of a couple different trailers, I think, which was shown at the Sony one, or the Squaresoft one, but Square-Enix, excuse me, God almighty. Anyway, yeah, the first one that was shown at the Microsoft conference was really cool. I was expecting a Frozen level for a long time. It looks great. I don't even like Frozen, and I'm excited to play through that stage. All the new power-ups and everything look fucking fantastic. I had a whole lot, just because people were getting on my case about this. I had first thought, I don't think that Aqua is going to be one of the Xehanort vessels, but then someone pointed out to me that, because not only the yellow eyes, but also she has tips of silver in her hair, and I was like, oh shit, okay, so maybe that's gonna happen. I don't know, who knows, whatever. The game looks amazing. I'm excited for it. That said, Square-Enix conference, so I actually missed this in the morning. I had to catch up with it a little bit later, after the Ubisoft one was done, because I was working on yesterday morning. I had some voice stuff to do, but it was fine. Not too much to say about this one. Didn't mind that it was basically just just a bunch of trailers in a row, but still hyped for Kingdom Hearts. Looks great. The Pirates of the Caribbean level looks fucking amazing as well. Infinitely better than the Kingdom Hearts 2 stage, with the Pirates stage of Kingdom Hearts 2, of course. Happy for a release date. I know it is absolutely possible that it might get delayed again. Some of my friends are placing bets on when that might be. I don't mind. At least we have a date at all to go off of. So, Anyway, that aside, Ubisoft, mostly bored out of my skull. It wasn't bad. I just wasn't really invested in most of what they were talking about. Amy was making constant jokes about how, like, trailer, and then people come out, and then talk for, like, a year, and then they leave, and then they play another trailer, and then rinse and repeat. Like, it was... It felt like it dragged on a little bit. I did get excited and then unexcited about the Star Fox thing. At first I was expecting maybe Ubisoft was making the next Star Fox game or something. I don't even actually remember much about the Starlink game. I'm sure it'll be fine. It's no offense to that whatsoever, but like the Star Fox thing isn't enough to get me to want to buy it necessarily. Like it's just another one of those things where like, oh, maybe I'll look up the Star Fox content on YouTube or whatever. That's the thing is like E3 is reminding me of like this is kind of a side note, but when I watch these conferences, it's like, oh, that was cool. I'm enjoying just the kind of in the moment entertainment value of the announcements and showcasing the different things or whatever. It's kind of the spectacle of that, where like there's only a very, very small amount of actual games that are announced that I'm actually going to buy. And play. So like, and sometimes it wires down more and more, especially just because of how much money it costs to fucking get all these things. It comes down to like, okay, I'll probably just look up, footage of all of the Star Fox stuff that will be in this game and have fun with that. And then I'll just kind of leave it at that. Maybe I'll buy the R-Wing. The R-Wing toy looks pretty cool. The most exciting part of this, and it was even over a game, a DLC for a game that we already know about with the Donkey Kong Adventure DLC for Mario and Rabbids Kingdom. The most exciting part of that conference was Grant Kirkhope, conducting the orchestra for the live music heard in the Mario and Rabbids Donkey Kong DLC pack thing was pretty amazing. He'll never hear this. I already tweeted at him, but like I'm super, super fucking happy for him. Just because that's such an amazing thing to get to do. So very happy for Grant. Let's see, Sony. Sony conference was all right. I give them points for originality on this kind of experimental sort of thing that they tried to do with moving the audience around different areas and stuff. That's very cool of them. It was not amazingly well executed, and I was like, all right, well, I'm actually weirdly more impressed by the Xbox conference, but what they had to show was still cool. Last of Us 2 is actually, it's kind of speaking of the earlier point. Last of Us 2 is a game that Amy will probably buy it, but I'll probably just watch and not actually play myself. But I loved the story of the first one. I watched a full playthrough of the first one a long time ago when it first came out and loved the story. I'm sure I'll enjoy experiencing the story of the second one, but it's not a game that I'll play. That said, a game that I'm actually really heavily considering picking up now, and I don't think I've ever even really played a Spider-Man game before, except for maybe I think I played around with the GameCube Spider-Man 2, the movie game, which of course was very well liked back then, maybe on Mike Lucas's GameCube or something like many, many, many years ago. But the new Spider-Man game just looks fucking really, really cool. Like, I'm actually super interested in it now. Good pick of all these different villains. They all have really great designs. All the gameplay footage, they were showcasing a fair bit of it, I think, actually after the Sony conference was over. It looks actually fun to play. So I might seriously pick that game up. I've never been more interested in like a licensed like Marvel video game since then, but I would like to check that one out. So I'll probably pick that up. And then there was some other stuff too. But the Sony one was fine. Certainly not my favorite, but had some cool stuff in there mixed in. And of course, last but not least, just this morning we had the Nintendo Direct. Oof, God. All right, well, I guess first of all, before I get to, the big one with Smash and everything, Pokemon Let's Go. I actually just started recording this right after the speaking segment with Junichi Masuda from Game Freak was there talking about further details of Go and everything. I mean, not too much more, but I'm still very much excited to play this game. Seeing some of the stuff in action was cool. I was relieved, and I kind of figured after I did a little bit more research about how Go works and just thinking about newer mechanics of the legit, well, not legit, the main line traditional Pokemon games, of knowing that you can still level up by just catching lots and lots of Pokemon. It incentivizes you to catch as many as you possibly can, I think is, now that makes sense to me. I'm like, okay, I'm more excited about that aspect, and I'm not, too leery about anything. I'm pretty much like entirely sold on this game at this point. But yeah, the other stuff looks great and everything. Happy about, Fire Emblem and Xenoblade and all that stuff. But of course, here we are. All right, Smash Brothers Ultimate. I'm fucking hype. I guess I still consider it. Well, you know what? I don't know. I guess you know what? I have to fold on this. I was about to say I still kind of half and half consider it like semi-new game, semi a port of the Wii U one. I mean, because the sheer amount of because the point of the whole game is it's all of the stuff that it's everything from every Smash game so far put into one Smash game with some new stuff thrown in as well. So I guess it kind of is, but like more or less, it's basically a new fucking game. Just a much shorter wait time since it's so weird. I was saying on Twitter a few days ago as well. Smash 4 has an oddly, already kind of nostalgic feeling for me because it's 4 years ago already, since the 3DS version came out, and that was shortly after I moved to California, and then and Xander, of course the Smash announcer came in right after I did too, so just it was an interesting time because we were going to each other's houses and playing that shit all the fucking time. It was interesting to kind of see that. And just to kind of feel that, just because of how things have developed since then. Nonetheless, I am very excited about it. I even characters that I wasn't ever expecting or cared about coming back. Like Pichu and the Ice Climbers. It was just cool to see them and updated in HD and looking great and everything. Inkling, I'm excited to see how they work. Ridley, of course, finally the prayers have been fucking answered by everybody. It's actually a little funny story about that too. I remember, I think one of the first cons I did with Xander, we were at Cadget's Bonsai Arcade panel. I forget what con this was, but we were hanging out. I think it was Anime LA, yeah, something like that. And, this was shortly after the game came out and he announced who he was. And somebody in the crowd is just say Ridley. And I was just immediately shut up, God, And, of course, now all this time later, here it is. And you finally got, I'm assuming it's still him, finally getting to say it all this time later. It looks excellent. Amy and I were talking about maybe doing like streaming a tournament at some point. Maybe we'll stream Smash 4 or something before the game comes out, just as kind of a hype thing or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But it looks excellent. Literally the only minor thing that I'm a little tiny bit salty about is I'm sad that Bomberman is an assist trophy. And not a full-on character when, the Konami connection happened, everything was cool, everything was all set and all that, but at least he's in the game at all, Mom. I can be a Bomberman too. I'm very much looking forward to playing through that again, because I've been I was a little bit smashed out after the final, DLC pack with Cloud and Bayonetta and Corrin. I was kind of spent on Smash for a while. I was like, all right, I'm not super, itching to play again, but I think that come December I'll be much more into it. I can't wait because now that Mike has access to fucking young Link again, I can't wait for him to just absolutely destroy my asshole at Smash Brothers more so than ever fucking before, because he got back into playing Captain Falcon again, which was one of his old mains in 4, because Captain Falcon had some improvements on him. So now he's got his old gang back again to destroy me constantly. So look forward to that. Anyway, all right. I think that's pretty much everything I have to say for now. This is a pretty good year overall. There's a little bit of snooze in here and there, but overall I was really happy with this year's E3, all the conferences and everything. Sadly, I'm not going. I was hoping I could, but a couple friends of mine are going to be there. If you're at E3, maybe keep an eye out for the likes of Kira Buckland and Casey Montolo. They've been talking about stuff on social media. Follow them on Twitter, and a few other friends of mine are all going to be there too. But it's exciting, and a lot of other things to check out. I'll be just my eyes are going to be glued to the fucking Treehouse, this Treehouse stream over the next several days. in between any work that I have to do. I've got some more recording sessions to do over the week, and continuing to take my animation break, but I'll be back to it as soon as I possibly can. And I won't do a question this time. I'll try and get to that next time. But thanks for tuning in. I will catch you all later, and have a glorious E3. Let me know your favorite announcements and games you're looking forward to this year in the comments, and I'll catch you all in the next Kirblog. Have a good one. Bye.